Ethan Thompson, wake the hell up. Mr. Davis is about to throw chalk. I shot up from my desk, instinctively wiping my mouth. I saw Alex Carter's familiar round face. He was hiding behind a textbook, sneaking chips into his mouth. I froze. Alex Carter, my best friend from high school. After college, he went to Africa for an engineering project and died in a construction accident in 2022. And now, here he was, alive and well, sitting right next to me, the sleeve of his Letterman jacket stained with grease from the breakfast burrito he ate this morning. What the hell? I looked down at myself, Letterman jacket embroidered with the school logo, the word early carved into the desk, and that ancient iPhone 4. March 12th, 2012, 2:23 p.m. The duty roster on the top left corner of the blackboard clearly displayed the date. My heart suddenly started pounding, palms sweating. Hey, you see a ghost? Alex nudged me with his elbow, offering half a bag of chips. Last bag, sharing with you. I took them mechanically, chewing the familiar taste from memory. This wasn't a dream. This really wasn't a dream. My last memory was of that out-of-control semi-truck. It was my 30th birthday. I'd just been laid off, found out my girlfriend of 2 years, who I was about to marry, was sleeping with my boss. I downed half a bottle of Jack Daniels and was walking home, and then, Ethan Thompson, meet me on the football field after school. A clear female voice cut through my thoughts. Jessica Collins, 3 rows ahead, turned around and winked at me. Sunlight streamed through the window, catching her blonde hair, giving it a golden halo. That gesture used to make my heart race, but now I just found it laughable. In my past life, because of those words, I stupidly waited for her on the football field for 2.5 hours until security kicked me out. And even more laughably, that was just the beginning of my 10-year stint as her devoted simp. For her, I gave up an Ivy League school out of state. For her, I was on call 24/7 as her backup throughout college. For her, Nah, I'm busy today, I heard myself say calmly. The classroom went silent for a few seconds. The smile froze on Jessica Collins' face. Her best friend next to her, Olivia Smith, her mouth formed an O. What did you say? Jessica Collins frowned slightly, her voice rising an octave. I closed my textbook and said slowly, deliberately, I said I'm busy today. I can't wait for you. The bell rang right on cue. I grabbed my backpack and walked out, leaving behind a classroom full of stunned students and a Jessica Collins whose face was alternating between pale and flushed. The moment I stepped out of the classroom, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. A second chance at life? Who the hell would still be a simp? In the hallway, I pulled out that iPhone 4 and opened the contacts. The contact saved as Jessica Red Heart was immediately deleted and changed back to her full name. Then I opened the inbox, filled with my pathetic simp messages. Jessica, it's raining today. Remember your umbrella. Jessica, I bought you breakfast and put in your locker. Jessica, I got that book you mentioned wanting to read. I shook my head as I deleted them. My 30-year-old soul looking back at my 18-year-old self made me want to travel back and slap myself twice. Ethan Thompson. Just as I reached the stairwell, Olivia Smith caught up to me. This woman had helped Jessica mess with me plenty in my past life. Jessica's on her period and craving cake from that place across town. Jessica's phone bill is due. Can you top it up? She was always the messenger. Jessica wants to know what you meant by that. Olivia Smith stood with her hands on her hips, looking like she was ready to interrogate me. I shrugged. Exactly what I said. You. Olivia clearly hadn't expected that answer. Haven't you always been into Jessica? I laughed. Who says? Everyone in school knows. You buy her breakfast every day, help her with her cleaning duties. Last time she casually mentioned wanting Starbucks, you skipped class to go get it. Oh, well, starting today, I'm not, I said, turning to leave. Olivia grabbed my arm. Ethan Thompson, are you crazy? Do you know how many guys are lined up trying to get with Jessica? She's doing you a favor by giving you a chance. I shook her hand off, then let them keep waiting in line. I'm taking my number and leaving. Walking out of the school gates, the spring breeze felt good on my face. I took a deep breath. A 30-year-old soul in an 18-year-old body. The feeling was incredible. Passing by a lottery shop, I stopped dead in my tracks. March 12th, 2012. I remembered this day. In my past life, Alex had complained that night that his dad's lottery ticket was just one number off the second prize. The numbers were, I closed my eyes, the memory flooding back. Red ball 0, 3, 12, 18, 22, 27, 33, and the blue Powerball 08. I rushed into the lottery shop, my hand trembling slightly as I filled out the numbers, buying 5 tickets. Kid trying his luck with the lottery? Huh. The owner asked with a smile. Just feeling lucky, I said, trying to act calm. Walking out of the shop, I pulled out my phone. 3 texts already from Jessica Collins. Ethan Thompson, what did you mean? Are you mad? Text me back when you see this. I swiped the notifications away, leaving them on read. The me from my past life would never have imagined I could just ignore Jessica Collins' texts. Back home, I dug out my piggy bank. Inside was $428 I'd saved up, originally intended to buy Jessica that bracelet she wanted. But now, I opened my computer and searched for Bitcoin. In 2012, Bitcoin was only a few dollars a coin. I grinned. This was the real cheat code to getting rich. At dinner, Mom and Dad were still talking about the mortgage. Seeing their faces, so much younger than I remembered, made my nose sting. In my past life, Dad had taken on extra side jobs to make more money, leading to chronic back strain that never fully healed. Dad, don't take that night shift, I said suddenly. Huh? How did you know? Dad looked surprised. Just a guess. I mumbled around a mouthful of rice. I'll make money and take care of you guys in the future. Mom and Dad looked at each other and laughed. You brat. Focus on passing your SATs first. Lying in bed that night, I scrolled through the class group chat messages. Olivia Smith tagged me. At Ethan Thompson, Jessica's asking why you haven't replied to her texts. I ignored it. A few minutes later, Jessica Collins posted herself. Some people really don't appreciate the chances they're given. The old me would have panicked seeing that message, immediately apologizing and sucking up. But now, I took a screenshot and then replied with a meme. Salt Bay meme. JPG. The chat instantly blew up. Holy shit, Ethan Thompson, savage. Is this a comeback? Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I closed iMessage and opened my MacBook, starting a list. 1. Cash lottery ticket. 2. Buy Bitcoin. 3. Study for Sats. 4. Stay away from Jessica Collins. 5. My eyes landed on the last item. Find Emily Harrison, the transfer student in my class from my past life who always kept to herself, reading. The only one who ever told me. Jessica Collins is just using you. Too bad I was so blinded back then I didn't listen at all. Tomorrow, everything changes. The next morning, the vibration of my phone woke me up. I grabbed my iPhone 4 and saw 5 unread texts, all from Jessica Collins. Ethan Thompson, what was that yesterday? Text me back when you see this. Are you into someone else now? Ethan Thompson. Fine. Whatever. I scoffed and deleted the messages. In my past life, getting 5 texts from Jessica Collins would have made me so happy I'd probably run 10 laps around the football field. Now, while getting ready, I looked at myself in the mirror. Messy short hair, clean-shaven chin, eyes not yet worn down by life. An 18-year-old body with the soul of a 30-year-old. What fucking weird feeling. Ethan, hurry up. Breakfast is getting cold, my mom yelled from the kitchen. Hearing that familiar voice, my nose stung. In my past life, my mom died from illness when I was 27 before she got to see me settle down and build a life. I rushed into the kitchen in a few steps and hugged her from behind. Hey now, what's gotten into you this early in the morning? Mom laughed, patting my hand. Bacon sizzled in the pan. Mom, I love you, I mumbled. Silly boy, go eat. At the breakfast table, my dad was reading the morning paper. I glanced at the date. Tuesday, March 13th, 2012. The day after last night's Powerball drawing. Dad, does the paper have the winning lottery numbers? My dad flipped to the sports section. Yeah, why? I took the paper, my fingers trembling slightly. Red balls 0, 3, 12, 18, 22, 27, 33, Powerball 08, exactly like I remembered. I have to go to school. I grabbed my backpack and bolted out the door. Hey, breakfast. Not hungry. I ran straight to the store where I bought the ticket yesterday. From a distance, I could see a red banner hanging over the entrance. Congratulations. 5 Powerball second prize winning tickets sold here. Inside, the owner was bragging to a few customers. Yeah, the winner yesterday was some student kid. Didn't recognize him, but man, what luck. I took a deep breath and walked in. Excuse me, I'm here to claim a prize. The owner turned, saw me, and his eyes went wide. It was you. I nodded, pulling out the ticket. The owner took the ticket, scanned it on the machine, and his eyes got even wider. 5 second prize wins. After taxes, it comes out to $131,428. The owner's voice cracked. Kid, what kind of luck is this? I tried to stay calm. Where do I claim it? You got to go to the state lottery commission. The owner suddenly lowered his voice. Hey kid, wanted to set you up with someone I know to go with you? These days. No thanks, I'm good. I cut him off, catching sight of the store's security monitor out of the corner of my eye. It was replaying yesterday's security footage. I saw myself buying the ticket, then the footage sped up. A man in a black jacket came in, bought a ticket, and left. Just as he turned, I saw the emblem on the back of his jacket, a winged skull. I'd know that symbol anywhere. It was the same winged skull emblem painted on the side of the semi-truck that killed me in my past life. Boss, who was that guy? I asked, pointing at the screen. Who? Oh, he's a regular. From Johnson's auto shop nearby. The owner answered casually. Why, you know him? No, just wondering. My heart started pounding. What numbers did he buy yesterday? The owner laughed. How would I remember that? I nodded thoughtfully. It was too much of coincidence. The truck that killed me in my past life had a winged skull emblem, and now I see a guy wearing the same symbol in the lottery shop. By the time I collected the prize money, it was already afternoon. The people at the State Lottery Commission gave me a check, and I went straight to the bank to open an account and deposit it. $131,428. That was a lot of money in 2012. Walking out of the bank, I pulled out my phone. Over a dozen missed calls, all from Alex Carter. And 3 more texts from Jessica Collins. Why weren't you in class today? Mr. Davis took attendance. I covered for you. Seriously, what's wrong with you? I scoffed again. In my past life, I skipped class to get Starbucks for Jessica Collins, and she never once covered for me. What was up with this girl? Now that I wasn't fawning over her, she was suddenly interested? I called Alex Carter back. Holy shit, Ethan Thompson, where the fuck have you been? Alex Carter's booming voice hurt my ears. The whole school's talking about how you dumped Jessica Collins. I had some stuff to take care of. I deflected. Anything interesting happened today? Yeah, Jessica Collins was totally freaking out today. Olivia Smith was telling everyone you're ignoring Jessica because you're into the new transfer student. Transfer student? Emily Harrison? My heart skipped a beat. Yeah, the one who's always reading by herself. Olivia Smith was deliberately giving her a hard time today, saying she was hitting on you. I gripped my phone tighter. Is Emily Harrison okay? What could happen? Wait, you don't actually like her, do you? Gotta go. I hung up and hailed a cab back to school. In the cab, I checked the price of Bitcoin on my phone, $4.30 each. I decided right then to use part of my winnings to buy Bitcoin tomorrow. I got back to school just as the last period of the day was starting. I slipped in through the back door and sat in an empty seat in the corner. The physics teacher was at the front, lecturing about electromagnetic induction. I immediately spotted Jessica Collins in the third row, constantly glancing back at the door, obviously waiting for someone. When she saw me, her eyes lit up for a second, then she put on a stern face and mouthed, "Where were you?" I ignored her, scanning the classroom for Emily Harrison. She was by the window, head down, taking notes, her smooth blonde hair falling to cover half her face. The bell rang, and I walked straight over to Emily Harrison. Everyone's eyes followed me like spotlights. "Sorry about yesterday," I said, standing by her desk. Emily Harrison looked up, revealing doe-like eyes. "About what?" "Olivia Smith giving you trouble." "It was because of me, wasn't it?" She gently closed her book. "It has nothing to do with you." Her voice was soft but firm. I noticed her textbook was covered, the corners worn white. On her desk was a clear plastic folder, neatly holding various pens and pencils. What stood out most was the water bottle tucked into the side pocket of her backpack, a Stanley thermos, oddly out of place in our energy drink fuel generation. "Ethan Thompson." Jessica Collins' voice came from behind me. I didn't turn around. Instead, I pointed at Emily Harrison's book. "I'm having trouble with this chapter on electromagnetic induction. Could you help me understand it?" Emily Harrison looked surprised for a moment, but before she could answer, Jessica Collins rushed over and grabbed my arm. "Ethan Thompson, we need to talk." I finally turned to face her. Jessica Collins was wearing smoky eye makeup today. Her mascara looked freshly applied, making her eyes seem huge. The way she bit her lower lip used to make me weak, but now I just found it ridiculous. "What is it?" I pulled my arm away. "What? What's wrong with you these past couple of days?" Jessica Collins' voice trembled slightly. "Why are you suddenly ignoring me? What did I do wrong?" The classroom was dead silent. Everyone craned their necks, watching the drama unfold. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Olivia Smith secretly filming with her iPhone, probably ready to post it on Instagram any second. "You didn't do anything wrong," I said calmly. "I just realized I shouldn't waste my time on people who aren't worth it." Jessica Collins' face went pale. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Exactly what it sounds like." I turned back to Emily Harrison. "Can you stay after school and help me with the problems?" Emily Harrison looked at me, then at Jessica Collins, and gave a slight nod. "Okay." Tears instantly welled up in Jessica Collins' eyes. In my past life, seeing her cry would have made me fall to my knees and beg for forgiveness. But now I just turned and walked back to my seat. After school, the other students dawdled, clearly wanting to see how the drama continued. Jessica Collins packed her things at her desk, moving as if in slow motion. She didn't leave until Olivia Smith came and pulled her away, eyes red. Before going, she shot a furious glare at both me and Emily Harrison. Finally, Only Emily Harrison and I were left in the classroom. You shouldn't have done that to her, Emily Harrison said suddenly. Jessica Collins. Emily Harrison's voice was very quiet. She's dangerous. My heart jolted. What do you mean? Emily Harrison just shook her head and started packing her books. Just as she picked up her backpack, a small pill bottle fell out of the side pocket and rolled to my feet. I picked it up. It was some kind of imported medicine with Dr. Miller printed on the label. Dr. Miller? Wasn't that my mom's doctor in my past life? Thanks. Emily Harrison quickly snatched the bottle back and shoved it deep into her backpack. Are you sick? I asked. It's none of your business. Her tone turned suddenly cold. Didn't you have questions about the homework? We spent half an hour discussing the physics problems. Honestly, I understood them already. I just wanted an excuse to get closer to her. Emily Harrison was patient, explaining things in a soft voice, occasionally tucking stray strands of blonde hair behind her ear. Why did you transfer? I asked when she paused. Emily Harrison's hand hesitated slightly. My parents' jobs. Where'd you transfer from? San Francisco. She closed her textbook. It's getting late. I should go. I walked her to the school gate. The setting sun stretched our shadows long behind us. Emily Harrison took the pill bottle out of her bag, shook out one pill, and swallowed it. What is that medicine? I couldn't help asking. Emily Harrison glanced at me, then said unexpectedly, Ethan Thompson, stay away from Jessica Collins. Not just because she'll hurt you, but also because. She didn't finish her sentence as a black Cadillac pulled up in front of us. My family's here to pick me up. See you tomorrow. She quickly got into the car. I memorized the license plate. Cali, XJ314. Back home, I turned on my computer and transferred $65,714 into the new brokerage account I'd opened, ready to start buying Bitcoin tomorrow. Then I searched for the medicine. It was a specialized drug for treating a rare autoimmune disorder, barely available in the U.S., needing to be imported from Switzerland. What illness did Emily Harrison have? Why did she have medicine prescribed by Dr. Miller? Dr. Miller was my mom's doctor 10 years in the future. This was too coincidental. And the guy in a lottery shop wearing the winged skull emblem jacket. Was my death in the past life really just an accident? Just as I was thinking, my phone buzzed. The class group chat was blowing up, and someone had tagged me. I opened it and saw a photo Olivia Smith had posted. The inside of Jessica Collins' desk drawer, covered in my name written over and over in red marker. Some of them crossed out. The creepiest part was a date written in the corner of the drawer. May 18th, 2022. That was the exact date I died in my past life. In math class, Mr. Davis wrote a problem on the blackboard, then turned around, clapping the chalk dust off his hands. This was the final question from last year's math competition. Can anyone in our class solve it? The classroom fell silent. I glanced up at the problem, a complex mix of solid geometry and calculus, definitely tough for high school students. But for me, a fake high schooler who'd already been through college and grad school in a past life, it was a piece of cake. In my previous life, Jessica Collins was the only one in the whole class who solved it. Mr. Davis praised her in front of everyone, calling her beauty and brains, and I'd clapped along like an idiot. Nobody wants to give a try? Mr. Davis scanned the room, his gaze landing on Jessica. Jessica flicked her blonde hair, pretended to study the problem, then shook her head. Mr. Davis, this problem is too hard. I'll give it a try. My voice sounded unusually clear in the quiet classroom. Every head in the class snapped around to stare at me like I was crazy. In my past life, my math skills were always mediocre. I wouldn't have dared touch a problem like this. Mr. Davis pushed his glasses up. Ethan Thompson, are you sure? Yeah. I walked up to the board and picked up the chalk. I could feel Jessica and Olivia Smith exchanging glances behind me, probably mocking me again for overreaching. But when I smoothly wrote down the first line of the solution, the whispering in the classroom abruptly stopped. The chalk clicked against the blackboard, my thoughts unusually clear. I'd studied this problem in my past life. Back then, helping Jessica prepare for the competition, I'd stayed up late working through nearly 5 years' worth of contest problems. I never expected that after rebirth, all that knowledge would still be in my head. 5 minutes later, I finished the last step, turned, and put the chalk back on the ledge. Mr. Davis stared at the board, not even noticing his glasses had slipped to the tip of his nose. Peter. Perfectly correct. And you used 2 different methods. The classroom erupted. Holy crap, did Ethan start hacking? Did he secretly get tutoring over the summer? His steps are even cleaner than the official solution. I calmly returned to my seat. As I passed Jessica, she looked up at me, her expression complicated. Ethan, Mr. Davis asked excitedly. When did you get so good at math? Just clicked recently, I guess. I shrugged. The bell rang and Mr. Davis, still impressed, praised me a few more times before leaving. Classmates crowded around, chattering excitedly, asking how I did it. In my past life, only Jessica got this kind of star treatment, while I was always the one clapping from the sidelines. Ethan, could you help me with this problem? A soft voice came from the edge of the crowd. It was Emily Harrison. She was holding a workbook, pointing to a function problem. The students automatically parted, their eyes darting between her and me. Ever since I'd publicly rejected Jessica the day before yesterday, the whole class had been waiting to see how this love triangle would play out. Sure, I took her workbook, deliberately ignoring the look Jessica shot my way. Emily's workbook was filled with neat notes, showing 2 or 3 different ways to solve each problem. I pointed out a small calculation error she'd made. Realization dawned on her face, and she nodded, the corners of her mouth lifting slightly. It was a small smile, but much more genuine than Jessica's practice ones. You like the 3-body problem too? I asked, noticing the corner of the book sticking out her backpack. Emily's eyes lit up. You've read it? Of course. You are bugs. I quoted the classic line from the book. But bugs have never been truly defeated. She finished the quote, and we shared a smile. Hey, Ethan. Jessica suddenly pushed between us, placing a frappuccino on my desk. Got this for you. 1/3 sugar with boba. Isn't this your favorite? I glanced at the drink. It was my favorite in my past life, but that was only to match her taste. I actually hate the gooey texture of boba. Thanks, but I'm not really into sweet drinks anymore. I pushed the frappuccino back towards her. Besides, I remember you being allergic to boba. Jessica's face changed. Who told you that? You mentioned it at the last class party. I looked directly into her eyes. What did I remember wrong? Jessica's eyelashes fluttered rapidly. I don't remember. Well, what do you want? I can go get you something else. No need. I turned back to Emily. That problem we were looking at, there's another way to solve it. Jessica stood frozen, twisting her fingers together. I could feel her embarrassment and anger radiating in the air. Finally, she snatched the frappuccino, turned, and threw it forcefully into the trash can. After school, I went to a brokerage firm and used part of my lottery winnings to buy Bitcoin. Back then, Bitcoin was just over $4 each. I bought 5,000 coins for about $1.28, $5.71. I put the rest of the money into a fixed deposit account for later use. By the time I left the brokerage, it was already dark. I took a shortcut through an alleyway when I suddenly heard footsteps behind me. Ethan Thompson, right? A rough male voice called out. I turned around to see 3 guys in the uniforms of the vocational high school next door blocking the alley entrance. The leader was tall with a thuggish look. I recognized him. Jason Johnson, Jessica's #1 admirer, who'd given me plenty of trouble in my past life. What do you want? I shifted my backpack to my left hand, my right hand subtly reaching for the keys in my pocket. Jason walked over, a cigarette dangling from his lips. Heard you've been acting pretty cocky lately, not even giving Jessica face. I don't know her well, I said calmly. Don't know her well? Jason sneered. Everyone knows you were sucking up to her for over a year. What acting all cool now? He reached out to slap my face, but I turned my head and dodged. My past self might have just taken it, but this version of me had studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years, albeit before I was reborn. Oh, you dare to dodge? Jason gave a look, and the other 2 guys closed in. I took down the first guy, the one with bleached hair, with a side throw. Before the second one could react, I had my keys pressed against his throat. Jason froze, clearly not expecting a regular high school kid to have moves like that. Get lost. I released the blonde guy and pointed my keys at Jason. Come after me again, and it won't be this simple. Jason's expression flickered, but eventually, he swore under his breath and dragged his 2 buddies away. I let out a breath, then suddenly noticed someone standing at the mouth of the alley, Emily Harrison. She was holding her copy of the 3-body problem, her eyes wide. Are you okay? She asked quietly. I'm fine. I put my keys away. What are you doing here? I live nearby. She pointed towards the apartment complex at the other end of the alley. Those guys just now. Just some punks, I said casually. Let me walk you home, it's late. Emily hesitated for a moment, then nodded. We walked side by side under the streetlights, our shadows stretching long and short beside us. You're really good at fighting, she said suddenly. Self-taught, I mumbled evasively. You take this way home too? I thought I usually saw you getting a ride. My mom's working late today. She tightened the strap on her backpack. Those moves you used back there looked a lot like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My heart skipped a beat. You know, BJJ? Read about it in a book, she said softly. You're really different than before. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? Emily stopped walking and looked at me seriously. Last week's physics quiz, you used a college-level method for the last big problem. Same with the math problem today. And just now, the old Ethan wouldn't have done any of that. The night breeze lifted her bangs, revealing her smooth forehead. In the streetlight, her eyes had a translucent amber quality, as if they could see right through my secrets. People change, I said, avoiding her gaze. Not usually this fast, Emily murmured, more to herself than to me. We reached her apartment building, an older place with a few flickering lights in the hallway. Want to come up for a bit? She asked, quickly adding, my mom will be back soon. I shook my head. It's too late. Maybe another time. Emily nodded and turned to go upstairs. When she reached the second-floor landing, she suddenly leaned out the hallway window. Ethan. Yeah. Be careful of Jessica. Her voice drifted down. She's not as simple as she seems. Back home, I opened my MacBook to check my email. There was the prize confirmation from the lottery center and the transaction record from the brokerage. I did some quick math. If things followed the path of my previous life, Bitcoin would hit over $100 next year. If I sold off a portion, then I could cash out hundreds of thousands. Just as I was about to shut down, an iMessage notification popped up. It was from Jessica. She'd sent a photo, my desk drawer, with a small, fancy box inside. Is this the birthday present you got for me? Red heart, the message read. I frowned. In my past life, I had started saving up a month in advance to buy her a birthday gift, but now, I hadn't prepared anything. That box wasn't mine. I replied, that's not for me. Don't pretend. I saw it. Jessica sent back a cute emoji. My birthday's next Saturday, you have to come. I didn't reply again, instead zooming in on the photo. Next to the box, the corner of a piece of paper was visible with what looked like writing on it. I enlarged the image further, barely making out a few words. Careful. They. Watching. What did that mean? Who put that box in my drawer? The next morning, I made sure to get to school early to check my drawer. The box was gone, and so was the note. I asked around, but no one had seen anyone touch my desk. Before first period, Jessica swaggered over, announcing loudly, Ethan, thanks for the present. I love it. The class buzzed. Olivia Smith immediately chimed in. What present? Let's see. Jessica pulled a small silver bracelet from her pocket, the exact one I'd scrimped and saved for 3 months to buy in my past life. That's not from me, I said calmly. Don't be shy. Jessica dangled the bracelet. It even has my name engraved on it. My heart jolted. The bracelet from my past life did have her name engraved on it, but I hadn't bought anything like that this time around. Unless someone was manipulating events according to my past life's trajectory. When the bell rang, I went straight to Emily's desk. Can we talk at lunch? She looked at me, then nodded slightly. The roof. At noon, the rooftop was sunny, with a pleasant breeze. Emily had brought 2 bento boxes, handing one to me. I made it myself if you don't mind. I opened the box. Inside were neat rice balls and a few simple side dishes. I took a bite. It was surprisingly delicious. About Jessica, I got straight to the point. Emily put down her chopsticks. What did you find out? I told her about the bracelet. Emily's brow furrowed deeper and deeper. Finally, she took out her iPhone and showed me a photo, her desk drawer with a similar unfamiliar box inside. I found this morning, she said quietly. I didn't touch it. When she zoomed in on the photo, there was also a note tucked under the box. It read, Don't trust the rebirth. The blood ran cold in my veins. Do you know what this means? My voice was dry. Emily gave me a long look. Maybe I should be asking you, Ethan. Did you really just suddenly click? This month's exam results are in. Mr. Davis adjusted his glasses, quieting the classroom instantly. Some of you showed great improvement, while others, not so much. My fingers drummed unconsciously on the desktop. In my past life, I'd ranked 25th on this exam. Jessica Collins had been 8th. She'd wave her report card at me condescendingly. Ethan Thompson, could you please try harder? I'm aiming for the Ivy League. How do you expect to keep up with me at this rate? First place, Emily Harrison, with a total score of 698. Mr. Davis's voice snapped me back to the present. Second place. By the time he got to the 10th name, the entire class was holding its breath. 10th place, Ethan Thompson, total score 652. The classroom exploded. Alex Carter smacked me on the back. Holy shit. Are you on something? Last month you barely scraped past 400. I feigned nonchalance with a shrug. Guess I got lucky. Jessica Collins whipped her head around, eyes wide as saucers. She was 9th, 1 spot below me. I saw her knuckles whiten as she clutched her report card. Ethan Thompson, Mr. Davis said with obvious satisfaction. Stop by my office this afternoon. Let's talk about a university recommendation. After class, students swarmed my desk, all talking at once, asking how I'd pulled it off. I brushed them off with vague answers. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Jessica Collins whispering intensely to Olivia Smith, her eyes darting towards me now and then. "Ethan Thompson, could I see your math paper?" A gentle voice cut through the chatter from the edge of the crowd. Emily Harrison stood there, holding her own perfect score test. The students parted automatically, their gazes shifting between us. The entire class had been gossiping about us ever since that talk on the roof. Sure. I pulled the test out and handed it over. Emily Harrison studied it, comparing our answers carefully, her brow slightly furrowed. "Your approach is really interesting. I haven't seen some of these methods before." "Self-taught," I murmured. "Library after school? We could compare notes." She nodded, a tiny smile touching her lips. It was subtle, but far more genuine than any of Jessica Collins's rehearsed expressions. "Ethan Thompson." Jessica Collins abruptly squeezed through, plunking a frappuccino down on my desk. "Congratulations on your score. I got you a frappuccino to celebrate." I glanced at the drink, still low sugar with boba, exactly like before. But I didn't refuse it this time. Rejecting it in front of everyone wouldn't look good. "Thanks." I accepted the drink and casually put it aside. "Ethan Thompson, I'm stuck on a few problems." Jessica Collins leaned closer, her perfume hitting me in a wave. "Could you help me out after school?" In my previous life, hearing that would have made me dizzy with happiness. Now, it was just pathetic. "Sorry, I've got plans with Emily Harrison at the library." I met her gaze directly. "Maybe ask Olivia Smith?" She did pretty well on the test, too. Jessica Collins's smile froze. Olivia Smith had placed 20th, better than before, but completely insignificant next to my rank. Since when did you two get so close?" Jessica Collins's voice trembled. "Just study partners," I said lightly. "Oh, and congratulations on 9th place." The color drained from Jessica Collins's face. She shot upright and stormed out of the classroom without a backward glance. Olivia Smith glared daggers at me before hurrying after her. "You didn't have to antagonize her like that," Emily Harrison said quietly. "Why not?" I arched an eyebrow. "She certainly gave me enough grief in my past life." I regretted the words as soon as they left my mouth. Emily Harrison's eyes widened slightly. "Past life? Slip of the tongue," I said quickly, changing the subject. "Do you see a simpler way to solve this problem?" After school, Emily Harrison and I found a quiet corner in the library. She pulled out a thick problem book, and I opened my MacBook Pro, bought with lottery money after I came back, a real luxury item back in 2012. "You code?" Emily Harrison looked surprised, noticing the lines of code on my screen. "Yeah, just working on a little app." I quickly switched windows. "Let's focus on these problems first." We spent half an hour on physics problems. Honestly, I knew the answers already. I just wanted an excuse to be near her. Emily Harrison was patient, explaining concepts and occasionally sketching intricate diagrams with her pencil. "Why the sudden change in how you treat Jessica Collins?" she asked unexpectedly. My fingers hesitated over the keyboard. "Let's just say I see things more clearly now." "Like what?" "She's not as straightforward as she seems." I closed my laptop. "And you? Why did you transfer here? Was it really just your parents' jobs?" Emily Harrison's lashes trembled slightly. "That was part of the reason. And the rest." She hesitated for a moment, then pulled a small medicine bottle from her bag. "I have a condition. I need regular follow-ups at Metropolitan General Hospital. Dr. Miller here is one of the leading specialists." I took the bottle. I could see it more clearly this time. Definitely imported medication. The label did say Dr. Miller. He was my mom's doctor in my past life. "What is it?" I asked quietly. "It's an autoimmune issue." She took the bottle back. "It's not life-threatening, but I need to be on medication long-term." I nodded, letting it drop, but I made a mental note. I needed to find out more about this Dr. Miller. As dusk settled, we packed our things. Just as we got to the school gates, Emily Harrison's iPhone rang. She glanced at the screen, her expression flickering. "I need to head out. Something's up at home." "Need a walk?" "It's okay, my ride's here." She quickly walked over to a black Cadillac waiting by the curb. I recognized the license plate, Cali, XJ314, but today a woman in sunglasses was driving, not the man I'd seen before. Back home, I fired up the MacBook and started coding the campus social app. I'd worked on something similar at a startup after college in my previous life, so now it was mostly a matter of dredging up the code from memory. A simple beta version was ready in under 2 hours. I called it Campus Connect. Features included checking schedules, analyzing grades, a marketplace for used stuff, and an anonymous forum. An all-in-one campus app like this was pretty uncommon back in 2012. I was debugging the code when my phone pinged. An iMessage from Alex Carter. "Heads up, Jason Johnson is going off in the class group chat. Says he's going to mess you up. I open the group chat. Jason Johnson had spammed a series of messages. Ethan Thompson, you think you are tough shit now. Humiliating Jessica like that. Cafeteria tomorrow. Be there. A couple of his hangers-on added their own taunts. Jessica Collins was silent, but she didn't try to stop him. In my past life, threats like this would have scared me stiff. Now, I scoffed and replied, sounds good. Cafeteria, lunch tomorrow. See you there. Sent. I immediately went offline and got back to coding. By 2 in the morning, the core features of the app were complete. I registered a company email address and applied for a business license, aiming to launch the beta next week. On the way home, I kept feeling like I was being followed. I looked back several times, but saw no one suspicious, yet the feeling of being watched lingered. Right as I got to my front door, I saw a slip of paper stuck in a jam. I unfolded it. A single typed line read, "Your return wasn't an accident. Be careful of your friends." The blood froze in my veins. Who left this? Who knew I'd come back? Besides Emily Harrison, who could I possibly have told? As the thought hit me, my phone vibrated. An MMS message from an unknown number. The attached photo showed Emily Harrison entering an unfamiliar office building. A sign near the door read, NeuroSync Labs. Ethan, man, this app is fucking awesome. Kevin Carter exclaimed, practically gluing his eyes, wide as saucers, to my MacBook. This interface design, the functionality, it blows everything else on the market out of the water. I just smiled without saying anything. This was only the early version. If he knew about the design concept from the future swimming around in my head, he'd probably drop to his knees and beg me to teach him right then and there. Class schedules syncing, grade analysis, secondhand marketplace, anonymous forums. Kevin ticked off the features one by one. When did you learn to code? How'd I not know you were this good? Learn in secret, I said, taking the laptop back. Help me find more people to test it, especially on different iPhone models. Need to check compatibility. Kevin slapped his chest confidently. Leave it to me. By the way, when are you planning to launch? Next month, probably. After I get Apple Pay integrated, I replied, glancing towards the back door of the classroom just as Emily Harrison walked in, arms full of books. Remember, keep this quiet. Don't worry. Kevin gave me a knowing wink. But seriously, you and Emily Harrison, are you really? Really what? Nothing. Kevin waved his hands dismissively and scurried off. Emily Harrison walked over to my desk and pulled a book from her stack, handing it to me. Here's the second book of the 3-body problem you wanted. We happen to have a copy at home. Thanks. I took the book and idly flipped open the cover. Inside, written in neat, elegant script, was Emily Harrison, purchased 2011, San Francisco bookstore. You really get into your reading, I commented, pointing to the dense notes scribbled in the margins. Emily blushed slightly. Just a habit. Are you developing an app? I realized my laptop screen was still on, displaying the admin interface for Campus Connect. I was about to brush it off, but seeing the curiosity in her eyes, I changed my mind. Yeah, a campus social app. I turned the laptop towards her. What do you think? Emily put her books down and studied the screen intently. In the sunlight, her long lashes cast faint shadows on her cheeks. After a few minutes, she pointed to the 4 module. It would be better if you added a tag categorization feature here, like study, life, entertainment. My eyes lit up. That was exactly what I planned to add in the next version. In my past life, it took our team 3 months to figure out that optimization. And here, she continued, pointing at the user interface, letting users customize theme colors would probably attract more female users. Do you know how to code? I asked, surprised. Emily shook her head. No, I'm just thinking from a user's perspective. As we were talking, Olivia Smith's shrill voice cut in from the doorway. Well, Ethan Thompson, asking for help again. She deliberately emphasized the words, asking for help, drawing stifled laughter from a few classmates. Jessica Collins stood behind her, wearing meticulously applied makeup today, her hair newly styled. What is it? I asked without looking up. It's Jessica's birthday next Wednesday. You haven't forgotten, have you? Olivia Smith's eyes widened dramatically. You were always the first one to get her a gift in previous years. Only then did I remember. In my past life, around this time, I had indeed started scrimping and saving for Jessica Collins' birthday gift. A silver bracelet worth $428, which wiped out half a year's savings. Oh, happy birthday. I nodded at Jessica Collins, then turned back to discussing the app interface with Emily Harrison. The classroom fell deathly silent. I could feel Jessica Collins' gaze stabbing into my back like knives. Ethan Thompson. Jessica Collins finally snapped, storming up to my desk. What is the meaning of this? I closed my MacBook. The meaning of what? My birthday. Her voice trembled slightly. You didn't give me a gift. I feigned surprise. Do you need a gift? Don't you have guys lining up from the school gate to downtown chasing after you? Let them get you one. A few classmates couldn't hold back their laughter. Jessica Collins' face instantly flushed crimson, tears welling up in her eyes. In my past life, seeing her like this would have made my heart ache, and I would have apologized immediately. But now, Ethan Thompson, you'll regret this. Jessica Collins spat out the words before turning and running out of the classroom. Olivia Smith shot a venomous glare at Emily and me before chasing after her. You shouldn't have treated her like that, Emily Harrison murmured. Why not? Does she deserve better? I sneered. Emily shook her head. No, it's just, she's been acting strangely lately. Last week, I saw her going through your desk. My stomach tightened. She went through my desk? When? During lunch break the day before yesterday. There weren't many people in the classroom. Emily hesitated. She took something too. That would explain the mysterious gift box. What the hell was Jessica Collins up to? Afternoon PE was basketball practice. In my past life, I was average at sports, but before I was reborn, I was the star player on my company's team. When the PE teacher asked if anyone wanted to demonstrate a layup, I raised my hand. Ethan Thompson, the teacher looked skeptical. Are you sure? Might as well try, I said. I took the ball, easily executed a standard layup, and then, on my way back, casually sank a three-pointer swish. The other students erupted. The PE teacher's eyes lit up. Not bad. Have you played before? Just mess around sometimes, I said modestly, though actually before being reborn, I played every week. The school team is recruiting new players. Interested in trying out. The teacher patted my shoulder. Just as I was about to answer, Jason Johnson walked over with a few members of the school team. Teacher, how about you let us spar a little with Ethan Thompson? The teacher looked at me. What do you say, Ethan Thompson? 3-on-3, half court. My past self would definitely have refused, but now, sure. The game started. Jason Johnson clearly wanted to put me in my place, playing tight defense right away, constantly pulling cheap shots. But I easily shook him off with a couple of crossover dribbles and scored repeatedly. Holy shit, when did Ethan Thompson get so good? Look at that crossover. He moves like a pro. Jason Johnson looks pissed. More and more students gathered to watch. When I used a behind-the-back dribble into a spin move to blow past Jason Johnson, then dunked on him, the hoop was a bit low. The crowd went wild. Ethan Thompson. Ethan Thompson. Alex Carter started chanting my name. The game ended with our team crushing them 15-4. Jason Johnson's face was pale with rage. He slammed the basketball onto the ground. Fuck. One more game. That's enough, the teacher intervened. Jason Johnson, you should learn from Ethan Thompson's skill and attitude. Jason Johnson trembled with anger, pointing at me. Just you wait. I shrugged and walked towards the sidelines. Just then, a bottle of water was offered to me. It was Jessica Collins. She must have come to watch the game at some point. Here, have some water, she said with a sweet smile, as if the morning's conflict had never happened. All eyes in the gym focused on us. My past self would definitely have been flattered and taken the water, only to be paraded around by her like a lapdog. But now, thanks, but I have my own, I said, walking past her to grab the water bottle I'd left on the sideline. I then walked over to Emily Harrison, who was standing in the corner. Want some? I haven't drunk from it. Emily's eyes widened in surprise. The entire class seemed to gasp collectively. Jessica Collins' hand froze in midair, the smile slowly crumbling on her face. And no, thank you, Emily stammered, the tips of her ears turning red. Could you hold it for me then? I insisted, handing her the bottle. I turned back to the PE teacher. Teacher, I've decided I'd like to join the school team. Jessica Collins finally exploded. She violently threw the water bottle to the ground. The plastic bottle burst, spraying water everywhere. Ethan Thompson, you asshole, she screamed before running off. The teacher shook his head. Ah, youth. Ethan Thompson, come to team practice after school tomorrow. Okay, coach. After school, I packed my bag, ready to head to the company, a small office I'd rented with my lottery winnings. For now, it was just a one-man operation. As I reached the school gate, Emily Harrison caught up to me. Ethan Thompson, wait. I turned around. She was holding a lunchbox. This is for you. I heard you're going to work, so you might not have time for dinner. Surprised, I took the lunchbox. Inside were neatly arranged sandwiches and sliced fruit. You made this yourself? Emily nodded. Yeah, consider it a thank you for helping me with that problem last time. Well, I'll have to give a proper taste test then. I immediately took a bite of a sandwich right there. Delicious. Her eyes lit up, and her lips curved into a slight smile. Really? Better than my mom's cooking, I said, taking another large bite. By the way, what do you usually eat for lunch? Oh, just whatever, she said vaguely. It was only later that I noticed Emily often ate a very simple lunch alone in the classroom, usually salad and bread, occasionally with a fried egg. Thinking about the meticulous sandwiches she gave me, something tugged at my heartstrings. The next day at lunch, I accidentally brought an extra, rather deluxe lunchbox. Barbecue ribs, shrimp baked with cheese, vegetable salad, and a bowl of corn chowder. Want to eat together? I walked over to Emily Harrison's desk. My mom made too much, and I can't finish it all by myself. Emily looked at the lavish spread, then at me, as if wanting to say something, but in the end, she just nodded softly. Thank you. We sat quietly eating in a corner of the classroom. Sunlight streamed through the window, catching her eyelashes and making them look like they were tipped with gold. She ate elegantly, taking small bites like a cautious cat. Why did you transfer here? I asked suddenly. Aren't the schools in San Francisco better? Emily's hand paused. My mom. For work. What about your dad? A shadow crossed Emily's face. He hasn't been around for a long time. I was about to apologize when Olivia Smith's sharp voice pierced the air from the doorway. Well, look here. The poor girl and the nouveau riche. What a perfect match. Emily's body visibly stiffened. I put down my fork and slowly stood up. Olivia Smith, apologize. Why should I? Olivia looked at me defiantly. Did I say something wrong? The clothes Emily Harrison wears are 3 years out of style, and you're just some lottery trash. First, I interrupted calmly. How I got my money is none of your damn business. Second, Emily's grades are #1 in the entire school. What about you? Besides being Jessica Collins' lackey, what have you ever accomplished? The classroom fell silent. Olivia Smith's face flushed bright red. You. Me what? I sneered. Want to compare scores on the next monthly exam? Or maybe compare what you're best at. Who's better at sucking up? The whole class roared with laughter. Olivia Smith trembled with rage, then ran out crying. Emily gently tugged at my sleeve. Ethan Thompson, there was no need for that. Yes, there was, I said, sitting back down beside her. People like her need to be put in their place. Before afternoon classes started, I noticed the way other students looked at Emily and me had changed. There was more curiosity and respect. A few classmates who usually kept to themselves even came over to talk, asking if I wanted to join the class activity next week. Meanwhile, Jessica Collins and Olivia Smith kept shooting cold glares our way. During the break, as I walked past the girls' restroom, I heard Jessica Collins scream from inside, I'll make Ethan Thompson regret this. And that bitch, Emily Harrison, too. After school, I went to the office to debug the app's backend. Just as I opened my MacBook, I received a text from an unknown number. Be careful of Jessica Collins. She's not as simple as she seems. I immediately tried calling the number back, but got a message saying it was disconnected. Confused, I received another text. Check the hidden folders on your computer. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly opened Finder and enabled viewing hidden files. In a folder I had never created, I found a surveillance video file. The footage showed Jessica Collins sneaking into the school's computer lab late at night, skillfully operating a computer. On the screen was clearly the back-end interface of Campus Connect, the app one was developing. The video's timestamp was from 3 days ago, before I had shown the app to anyone. In the last few seconds, Jessica Collins suddenly turned towards the camera, a creepy smile spreading across her face. Her lips moved, seemingly mouthing the words, "Found you." I stared at the surveillance video on my MacBook screen, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. How could Jessica Collins know about my app? 3 days ago, I hadn't even shown it to Kevin Carter. My iPhone buzzed again. It was the same unknown number. She's watching you. Be careful at the birthday party. I immediately texted back, who are you? But the message vanished like a stone dropped into the ocean. No reply. Lightning flashed outside the window, followed by a clap of thunder. I glanced at the time, 10:30 p.m. A crazy idea started forming in my head. The rain was pouring. Dressed in a black raincoat, I crouched in the bushes outside Jessica Collins' villa, rainwater streaming down my face. In my past life, I'd been here countless times, bringing her breakfast, delivering homework, acting as her emotional dumping ground. Yet I wasn't even allowed to sit on the living room couch. Through the floor-to-ceiling window, I saw Jessica Collins pacing alone in her bedroom, holding something in her hand. Her father's car wasn't home, and a light in the nanny's room was off. I circled around to the backyard and easily hopped the fence. I had fixed the lock on Jessica Collins' balcony door in my past life, back when she deliberately locked it, making me wait in the rain for half an hour before telling me she had a spare key. It was still the same broken lock. I slid my student ID card gently, and the door popped open. "Who's there?" Jessica Collins's panicked voice came from the bedroom. I slipped inside, locking the door behind me. "Don't scream. It's me. Ethan. Ethan Thompson." Jessica Collins's eyes widened, and she quickly hid whatever was in her hand behind her back. "What did you get in?" "The balcony lock is still broken." I wiped the rain from my face, my gaze fixed on the hand behind her back. "What are you hiding?" "In nothing." She backed away a few steps. "You're trespassing. I'm calling the police." I scoffed. "Go ahead. Let the police see how you spied on my computer." I pulled out my iPhone and played the surveillance video. Jessica Collins's face went instantly pale. "Ow, that's impossible. I deleted it." "So you admit it?" I stepped closer. "Why were you spying on me?" She suddenly laughed, a strange smile that didn't belong on a high schooler's face. "Ethan Thompson, did you really think being reborn meant you'd already won?" My blood ran cold. You know. Of course." She slowly brought out a black notebook from behind her back. "I know much more than you think." Written on the notebook cover in red ink were the words Ethan Thompson, and below them, a range of dates. 1985-2022. My birth and death years. "What is this?" My voice was hoarse. Jessica Collins chuckled softly as she opened the notebook. "Your past life. May 18th, 2022, rainy day, semi-truck after drinking." "Oh, and this." She flipped to a page with a photo pasted on it. My past self, lying in a pool of blood. The angle looked like it was taken from inside the vehicle that hit me. You were the one who killed me in my past life." I trembled all over, unsure if it was from cold or rage. "Don't flatter yourself." Jessica Collins flipped to the end of the notebook, where a new date was written, June 15th, 2023. "This time will be faster." I lunged forward to grab the notebook, but she was ready, dodging sideways while simultaneously pressing a button on her phone. The next second, alarms blared throughout the entire villa. "Goodbye, Ethan Thompson," she sneered, pointing towards the balcony. "The police will be here in 5 minutes." I had no choice but to retreat. Before climbing back over the balcony railing, I glanced back. Jessica Collins was fixing her hair in the mirror, which reflected another notebook on her desk. The cover read, Emily Harrison. I ran back to my company through the downpour, completely soaked, my mind consumed by that death notebook. Jessica Collins not only knew I was reborn, but she had detailed records of my past life's death. And she said, "This time will be faster." Was she planning to kill me again? Even more terrifying, Emily Harrison had a similar notebook. I opened my MacBook and searched for memory transplant experiments, but all I found were a few science fiction stories. Just as frustration set in, my iPhone rang. It was Emily Harrison. "Ethan Thompson." Her voice was unusually weak. "Can you come over to my place? I found something." 20 minutes later, I stood in front of Emily Harrison's door. She lived in an old apartment building in the eastern part of the city. 2 of the hallway lights were broken, flickering intermittently. The door opened. Emily Harrison stood there, pale-faced, holding that pill bottle. "Come in. My mom's working the night shift." Her apartment was small but tidy. The living room doubled as a study, its walls covered in award certificates. I noticed all the photos showed only her and a middle-aged woman. No sign of a father. "Look at this." Emily Harrison led me into her small bedroom, closed the door, then took a UV flashlight from a drawer and shone it on the pill bottle's label. Under the ultraviolet light, another layer of text appeared on the seemingly ordinary label, a string of binary code. "I found it by accident." Her voice trembled slightly. I looked it up. Its coordinates, latitude and longitude, pointing to an abandoned lab in Silicon Valley Tech Park. I took the bottle, my heart pounding. Do you know what kind of experiment this was?" Emily Harrison shook her head. "I only remember having a high fever when I was 6. After I woke up, I started having strange dreams. About the future." She looked up at me. "Like the things you knew before you were reborn." A jolt went through me. "You have past life memories too?" "Not complete ones, just fragments." She pointed to the pill bottle. "Dr. Miller said these are inhibitors to stop foreign memories from interfering with my brain." I never understood what that meant until I met you. We looked at each other in silence, seeing the same shock and confusion reflected in each other's eyes. "Should we check out those coordinates tomorrow?" I suggested. Emily Harrison was about to nod when she suddenly started coughing violently, her face turning white as paper. I quickly steadied her. Her skin felt ice cold to the touch. "Medicine. Give me my medicine," she said weakly. I hurriedly shook out a pill for her. After she swallowed it, her breathing gradually steadied. "What exactly is wrong with you?" I asked softly. Emily Harrison gave a wry smile. "Dr. Miller said, My immune system is rejecting memories that don't belong to me. Those dreams, those fragments of the future, they're killing me. Saturday morning, Emily Harrison and I got on the bus heading to Silicon Valley Tech Park. She was wearing a light blue dress today and looked even paler than usual. Are you sure you want to go? I asked worriedly. Yesterday you... I have to, she said firmly. I think the answer is there. The bus stopped at the final station. We walked for 20 minutes and arrived at an abandoned tech park. According to the coordinates, the lab should be the gray building furthest inside. The park gate was locked, and a rusty sign read, Biogen Research Institute. We found a gap in the fence and squeezed through. At the end of an overgrown path, the gray building stood silently, like a slumbering beast. Are you scared? I asked Emily Harrison. She shook her head, but her fingers were tightly clutching the hem of her dress. Acting on impulse, I took her hand. It was cold and trembling. The lab's main door was chained shut, but the glass of a side window had long been shattered. I climbed in first, then helped Emily Harrison through. Dust filled the air inside. Sunlight slanted in through the broken windows, illuminating the floating particles. The first floor housed standard labs, with various instruments covered in dust cloths. We searched carefully and finally, at the end of the second floor, found a specific room. The sign on the door read Memory Transplant Project Team. The door was locked, but the fingerprint scanner beside it had lost power. I gave a hard kick, and the door swung open. Inside looked like an operating room. In the center was a device resembling a dentist chair, surrounded by various electrodes and monitors. Charts taped to the wall were yellowed with age, but terms like memory encoding and synaptic reconstruction were still legible. What the hell is this place? I muttered. Emily Harrison suddenly walked over to a filing cabinet in the corner and pulled out a file. Ethan Thompson, look at this. The file cover was stamped Project Prometheus, and inside were several experiment logs. We huddled together to look, growing more horrified the more we read. It turned out to be a secret experiment aiming to transplant memory fragments from one person's brain into another's using drugs and electrical stimulation. The test subjects were mainly children because of their high brain plasticity. Here, Emily Harrison pointed to a list. This is my name, Emily Harrison. Entered the program at age 6. Memory donor is Jessica Collins. My eyes widened. What? Jessica Collins's memories were transplanted into you. No, look at the notes, Emily Harrison said, her voice trembling. I was in the control group, receiving memory fragments from a dying scientist. We kept searching and found more chilling information in another drawer. Jessica Collins was also a test subject. At age 12, she underwent enhanced memory transplant, and the memory donor was clearly marked as a 30-year-old Ethan Thompson. This can't be. My legs felt weak. After I died in my previous life, my memories were transplanted into Jessica Collins. No, look at the date. Emily Harrison pointed to a report. The experiment was conducted in 2010. You weren't dead then. They were experimenting with predictive memory. I suddenly recalled the detailed records of future events in Jessica Collins's death note. She wasn't reborn. She had fragments of my past life's memories implanted in her. Then who are you? I turned to Emily Harrison. Why did you have DR? Miller's medicine. Just as Emily Harrison was about to answer, footsteps suddenly sounded outside. We quickly shut off our flashlights, held our breath, and hid behind the filing cabinet. Sure, they came in. It was Jessica Collins's voice. Monitoring shows a man and a woman. Must be them, another male voice replied. I recognized it as Jason Johnson. Split up and search, Jessica Collins said coldly. That girl saw something she shouldn't have. The footsteps scattered. I squeezed Emily Harrison's hand and whispered in her ear, back door. We tiptoed towards the back door, only to run right into Jason Johnson around a corner. Here, he yelled, lunging at us. I shoved Emily Harrison aside and started grappling with Jason Johnson. He was sturdy, but I had combat experience from my previous life. I took him down in a few moves. Ethan Thompson, let's go. Emily Harrison pulled me toward the back door. We had just burst out of the lab when we heard Jessica Collins scream, "Stop them!" Hasty footsteps echoed behind us. We sprinted desperately towards the park's perimeter wall. The highway was just on the other side. Just as I was about to climb over, there was a soft thud, and Emily Harrison suddenly collapsed. Emily Harrison. I looked back. A tranquilizer dart was sticking out her thigh. Jessica Collins stood not far away, holding a tranquilizer gun. Ethan Thompson. Run. Emily Harrison said weakly, then passed out. I hesitated for a second, but decided I couldn't leave her. Just as I bent down to pick Emily Harrison up, a sharp pain shot through my back. I'd been hit too. The last thing I saw before darkness consumed my consciousness was Jessica Collins approaching with a cold smile, holding a syringe that glinted menacingly. I woke up with a splitting headache, bound to a metal chair in a white room that looked like an operating room. Through the glass opposite me, I could see Emily Harrison lying unconscious on a hospital bed in another room. Awake, Jessica Collins's voice came from overhead. I looked up at the speaker mounted in the corner. What do you want? Let Emily Harrison go. Not so fast. Jessica Collins pushed the door open and entered, followed by a middle-aged man in a white lab coat. Meet Dr. Miller first. The man approached, and I recognized him. He was my mother's attending physician in my past life, but he looked at least 10 years younger now. Mr. Ethan Thompson, a pleasure, Dr. Miller smiled. Or should I say, the Reborn? What kind of game are you playing? I struggled, but the restraints didn't budge. Simply put, an accident, Dr. Miller said, adjusting his glasses. During a memory transplant experiment in 2010, we accidentally captured a memory fragment from the future, your memories from before you were reborn. This fragment was implanted into Jessica Collins's brain. Jessica Collins cut in, but the memory wasn't complete, just fragments. I knew you would be reborn, knew you would die, but not the specific details. She pulled out that notebook. All these years, I've been recording these precognitive dreams. Then what about Emily Harrison? I demanded. An unforeseen complication with the control group, Dr. Miller sighed. We transplanted the memories of a dying scientist into her, not expecting those memories to also contain fragments from the future. Worse, her immune system started rejecting the foreign memories. So the medicine she was taking, suppressants to slow the rejection, Dr. Miller glanced towards Emily Harrison through the glass. But it's only a temporary fix. It all suddenly clicked into place. You've been monitoring us all along. That anonymous text. Wasn't me, Jessica Collins sneered. Probably someone else involved in the experiment who knew. But it doesn't matter anymore. Today it all ends. She took out a syringe filled with a blue liquid. This is a memory extraction agent. It can pull out your memories from after your rebirth. With this, I'll have the complete future. You're insane. I roared. Have you thought about the consequences? The consequence is that I'll become a prophet. Jessica Collins's eyes gleamed with madness. I'll know which stocks will rise, which companies will succeed. I'll be the richest person alive. Dr. Miller put a hand on her shoulder. Calm down. We need to follow procedure. He turned to me. Ethan Thompson, cooperate with us, and Emily Harrison lives. Otherwise, don't listen to him. Emily Harrison's weak voice came through the speaker. She was awake too. Ethan Thompson, they're bluffing. They need living memories. They won't dare kill you. Jessica Collins cursed and pressed a button. Emily Harrison's bed suddenly surged with electricity, and she writhed in pain. Stop. I struggled desperately. I'll do it. I agree. The current stopped. Emily Harrison collapsed onto the bed, weakly saying, No, Ethan Thompson. Jessica Collins walked towards me smugly, raising the syringe. Just as the needle was about to pierce my neck, the power in the entire room suddenly cut out. Alarms blared in the darkness. Amidst the chaos, I heard Dr. Miller exclaim, Who cut the power? The door was kicked open, and a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. Police! Don't move! It was Kevin Carter's voice. Then came the sound of shuffling footsteps and fighting. Someone untied my restraints. Ethan Thompson, are you okay? In the dim light, I recognized Ryan Davis from our class. How did you? Kevin Carter got your distress signal with your location and called a bunch of us guys. He quickly untied my bonds. Where's Emily Harrison? Next door. We rushed into the next room, only to find Emily Harrison's bed empty. The window was wide open, the curtain flapping in the cold wind. She escaped? Ryan Davis asked, confused. I looked out the window. In the distance, a staggering figure was heading towards the road. There! By the time we chased after her, Emily Harrison had already collapsed by the roadside, barely breathing. I picked her up and saw she was tightly gripping that medicine bottle. Ethan Thompson. She weakly handed me the bottle. Inner layer. Password. And she passed out. Just then, police sirens grew louder, approaching. We were saved, but the real mystery was just beginning. I waited anxiously in the hospital hallway. It had been 3 hours since Emily Harrison was wheeled into an operating room at Metropolitan General Hospital. The doctor said her immune system had completely collapsed. Her condition was critical. I took out the vial and examined it carefully under the UV light at the nurse's station. Beneath the outer label, besides the binary code I'd seen before, was a tiny line of text. Memory stabilizer formula. See bottom. I pried open the plastic compartment on the bottom of the vial and found a micro SD card hidden inside. Ethan Thompson, Alex Carter, and Ryan Davis approached with the police. Are you okay? I quickly hid the SD card. I'm fine. What about Jessica Collins and Dr. Miller? We got them, one of the officers said. They crashed their car, trying to get away. They're being treated in the next wing. How's your friend? They're still working on her, I said, my voice hoarse. Another 2 hours passed before doctor finally came out. She's stabilized for now, but she'll need long-term treatment. I was allowed into the ICU. Emily Harrison lay in the bed, hooked up to tubes, pale as a sheet. I gently took her hand. Hang in there. I found the formula. A week later, Emily Harrison's condition stabilized, and she was moved to a regular room. I came every day, bringing my MacBook to study the files on the SD card, the complete drug formula, and Dr. Miller's research logs. It turned out the memories Emily had received came from a scientist who researched temporal physics. Those fragmented glimpses of the future were actually theoretical derivations about the multiverse. Dr. Miller had used this for illegal experiments, and Jessica Collins was the daughter of his primary funder. So, I'm not actually reborn. I asked Emily one day when she was finally able to sit up. She shook her head. You are, but Jessica isn't. She just received fragments of your past life's memories. My memories, they're a possibility from an alternate reality. We were silent for a moment. Outside the window, the sun was bright, and tree shadows danced on the wall. What about the SATs? Emily suddenly asked. I laughed. Doesn't your early admission still count? Besides, I pulled out my iPhone and showed her the news. My Campus Connect app had surpassed 71,428 users and secured its first round of funding. So, Ethan, you gotta look out for me now, Emily joked, which was rare for her. Looking at her thin face but still bright eyes, I suddenly blurted out, Emily Harrison, when we get into the Ivy League. Let's be together. She froze, a blush spreading across her pale cheeks. Are you asking me out? Yeah, I said, scratching my head. Getting a second chance at life? I don't want to miss this. She nodded softly, tears welling in the corners of her eyes. Okay. 3 months later, after the SATs, Emily Harrison and I both got into Ivy League universities. Jessica Collins received probation for her involvement in the illegal experiments and assault and transferred to a school out of state. Jason Johnson's family business, Johnson's Auto Shop, was shut down for ties to organized crime. At the graduation ceremony, Emily Harrison and I gave speeches as outstanding graduate representatives. The audience erupted in applause. I saw Alex Carter and the others give us a standing ovation, while in a corner, Jessica Collins' father left early, his face grim. 5 years later, our class reunion. My company was valued at over $100 million, and Emily Harrison had become a well-known science fiction author. When we walked into the private room arm in arm, everyone stood up to greet us, except for a woman with heavy makeup in the corner. Jessica Collins? I barely recognized her. The once radiant popular girl now looked worn down. I heard after her family went bankrupt, she'd married some rich businessman, but they divorced quickly. Congratulations. So, Ethan, she said sourly, her eyes flickered between Emily and me. To everyone's surprise, I handed her a business card. My company needs a marketing director. Interested? Jessica froze. You'd hire me? Why not? I smiled. After all, without you, I might never have understood what's truly important. Emily squeezed my hand gently, her eyes full of approval. After the reunion, Emily and I were walking under the stars. She suddenly asked me, if you could live your life over again someday, would you change anything? I looked into her bright eyes and shook my head. No, everything is exactly as it should be.